talk a little bit about gun control. Specifically, I want to talk about enacting new gun laws. Now, with everything that's gone on lately, we had a school shooting in Colorado, we had the 1-year anniversary of the Sandy Hook massacre. This really is a hot topic. Family, friends, people online, people in the news media, politicians, this really is a topic that's in the air right now. A lot of people are discussing gun control and gun laws and whether or not there are things that should be done, whether there are laws that should be enacted to try and prevent these types of things from happening again. Now, regardless of what side of the fence you fall on this issue, you need to understand this issue thoroughly because it affects you. We're talking about enacting gun laws that restrict your right to own something. Whether you agree with it or not, it restricts a right that you have. So keep yourself well informed. Now, one of the things we can talk about when we talk about gun control and whether or not gun control and gun laws actually work is just looking at statistics. Look at the areas, at least in this country, where gun crimes are highest. Now, generally speaking, it's in the areas with the most strict gun laws, with the most gun control. Now, that in and of itself pretty much just tells you that gun control and gun laws don't work. Especially when you go back. Gun crime does not get better with gun laws. I mean, statistically speaking, since the beginning of last century, the early 1900s, when New York enacted the very first gun laws in this country to restrict firearm ownership within the state, it started a trend and crime began to increase. Now, why is that? Well, we can look at 100 different reasons, but primarily it comes down to the groups of people who are willing to commit these types of crimes. Criminals and people who are mentally unstable. Criminals, by definition, do not obey the law, therefore any laws that you enact will not deter them from being a criminal. The other side of it is those who are mentally unstable. And these people are a little different, but it basically boils down to the same thing. They do not understand or do not care about their actions or the consequences of their actions, therefore laws do not deter them either. So, who is affected by gun laws? Well, you are, and I am. People who are law-abiding citizens, people who will obey the law, people who, even if there was no law there, would not commit these types of atrocities. I mean, murder, for instance, been around for a long time, and laws against it, been around just as long. Yet every day there are still murders all across this country, all across the world. Why? Because these murders are committed by criminals and people who are mentally unstable, people who do not obey the law. So, it really begs the question, why do we keep enacting more gun laws that do nothing to affect gun crime instead of trying to get to the root of the behavior that causes this, the root of why people become criminals, or the root of mental instability? Well, you look at people like Dianne Feinstein and Mayor Bloomberg, people who, just where they live, where their jurisdiction is, have enacted so many gun control laws, yet their crime rates are far higher than those areas where there are much less gun control laws in place. So it really comes around when you look at all the gun control that's been put in place over the years, over the last century in this country especially. Every time something happens, more gun control laws are put into place. Something happens again, let's throw more gun control laws at it. Yet it doesn't stop the behavior. Doing something repeatedly, again and again, and every time expecting a new or different result. Well, gun control, gun laws, it really is the definition of insanity.